Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namah. Everybody, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Namaste Shunyavadi Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sadi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Sri Sri Gauranitai. Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radhe Radha, Radha Shama Sundar. Srila Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितानेन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीयुतपदकमलां श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च पञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। आराध्यो भगवान् ब्रजेश तनयत्तद्धाम वृन्दावनम् रम्याकाचिदुपासना व्रजवधुवर्गेण या कल्पिता श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेम पुमार्थो महान् श्रीचैतन्यमहाप्रभुर्मतमिदं तत्रादरो न परः। कदा द्रक्ष्यामि नन्दस्य बालकं नीपमालकं पालकं सर्वसत्त्वानां लसततिलकबालकं कदा कदा द्रक्ष्यामि नन्दस्य बालकम्। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna. It's so nice. It's so nice to be back in Vrindavan. And what is Vrindavan without devotees? So it's so nice to be back with the devotees. Haribol! Then what to speak of? Darshan of Krishna Balaram. You are so fortunate You are so very, very fortunate that you always stay with Krishna Balaram. And this is Srila Prabhupada's good fortune, in fact. We did nothing much to have such deserving, such location, situation, Vrindavan Dham ki, being in Vrindavan. So many of us had not even heard name Vrindavan. Is that possible? I think so. So many of you probably had not heard name Vrindavan during your childhood days or even your young days. And now you are. Now I am also sitting here in Vrindavan. And so much more could be said. All this all divine arrangement of His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada ki. यदि प्रभुपाद न होइते थी तो क्या की होइते. I don't know the full song, but I remember that first part. Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj ki. He compiled that song. Haribol. Wherever I look, I am reminded of Srila Prabhupada here. I see Panchagauda and I'm reminded of Srila Prabhupada. I see Dinabandhu Prabhu, I'm reminded of Srila Prabhupada. And each one of you kind of remind me of Srila Prabhupada. And I go into Prabhupada's quarter and so many memories, so many. Then I come to darshan of Krishna Balaram. Oh, I remember when Krishna Balaram installation took place, and Srila Prabhupada offered the first arati, an offering arati, then he was turning around and to the audience. He still had that fan in his hand. And he looked so proud that he had installed Krishna Balaram and Krishna Balaram temple. And, so I was right there, the forefront. I never took a back seat whenever there was Prabhupada or audience of Prabhupada or in presence of Prabhupada. Somehow I never sat in the back. Always took front seat. Maybe I was proud or something, whatever. But so I remember I was holding to the railing and standing there and yeah, so that was way back, 75, day of Ram Navami, and Krishna Balaram appeared with the request of the prayers of Srila Prabhupada. And the next day during morning walk, that was still Chattikara Road, not Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Marg. It became in 1977, it became Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Marg. I also remember everything I look at, I'm reminded of Prabhupada. So Bhaktivedanta Swami Mark, sign. I was saying in my book, if you want to remember something, what to do, better write it down. So I have written down my memories of Srila Prabhupada and many books, including a book called Festivals with Srila Prabhupada, Mayapur Vrindavan Festivals with Srila Prabhupada. So, so in 77 Mayapur festival, well, Mayapur Prabhupada was there. Then he went to, he used to come every year. Mayapur festival, then Vrindavan festival. Mayapur festival, then Vrindavan festival. Of course, the Vrindavan festival started in 74. Mayapur festival, first Mayapur festival took place in 72. There was no Vrindavan festival that year. 73, no Vrindavan festival. 74 was the first Vrindavan festival. 74, 5, 6, 77, Prabhupada's health did not allow him to. Well, instead he went to Mumbai. But I remember Dhananjaya Prabhu. He had traveled to Mumbai and he was talking of this Bhaktivedanta Swami mark. We have a new mark named after you, Srila Prabhupada. So when he was reporting that, I was there in Prabhupada's quarter in Mumbai, I remember. So that connection with Bhaktivedanta Swami mark and that Bhaktivedanta Swami gate also, which reminds us of Srila Prabhupada, was installed in 77. So I'm just trying to say a lot of things. Here in Vrindavan remind me of Srila Prabhupada. Or I look at Krishna Balram and I'm reminded of Srila Prabhupada. And I look at Srila Prabhupada and I'm reminded of Krishna Balram. It's like that. Krishna consciousness includes Prabhupada consciousness. And if you are Prabhupada conscious, certainly you will end up becoming Krishna conscious. Yasya deve para bhakti, yatha deve tatha guru. This is a Vedic version statement. You should be worshipping Yasya deve, Deva, Govinda Deva, Baladev, Yasya deve para bhakti, yatha deve tatha guru. Yatha deve. As you worship Devata, the deities, Krishna, so likewise tatha Guru is to be worshipped. Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada is to be worshipped. And so they are a team, in fact, and they cannot be separated. They are always together. So, Dhyayam stuvam tasya yasya sri sandhyam vande guru sri charana ravindam. That one says, Dhyayam, dhyayan stuvam. You should be remembering and glorifying, offering prayers, stuti unto your spiritual master. Tri sandhyam, thrice a day. It says they are thrice a day. Tri sandhya. But one should be remembering the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada is prataha smaraniya. Those who understand prataha smaraniya term. Prataha, morning. As you get up, so Srila Prabhupada is worth remembering. As soon as you get up, you remember. Prataha smaraniya. Srila Prabhupada ki. Ebeyash Gushuk Tribhuvan, and his glories are spread all over the three worlds. Vedegai Jahara Charit. Narottam Das Thakur is saying. His glories are chanted throughout the scriptures, Ado, Madhye, Ante, Sarvatra, Hari Giyate, Hari Bhaktaha, Giyate. Hari Hari. So we should always be remembering Srila Prabhupada, and then to make a connection, especially this year years to remember Srila Prabhupada like anything. This is 125th anniversary, birth anniversary year of Srila Prabhupada. Well, I was just thinking, as Krishna appeared 5,248 years ago. On this Janmashtami, you could say so. 5,248 years ago, Krishna appeared. And then Srila Prabhupada appeared 125 years ago in Kolkata. Next to a jackfruit tree, his birthplace, there was jackfruit tree. And devotees have finally managed to acquire that property. It is in possession of ISKCON. And it was one of the will of Srila Prabhupada. He had written to one of his family member who also became his disciple, Shankarshan, if you know the name. We were just reading that Prabhupada's communication. Get that property. Prabhupada wanted this property that be acquired. So finally devotees have acquired the property and they are building a memorial that will keep reminding the whole world of Srila Prabhupada for all the time to come. So this is a very, very special year, 125th birth anniversary year. Okay? And then there are so many occasions to remember Srila Prabhupada. Just yesterday, who am I? I'm just nobody. But anyway, I was coming to Vrindavan. I arrived in Vrindavan yesterday, finally. And yesterday was the day Prabhupada departed for USA, to America. So then I was making the connection. Yadi Prabhupada no hoite, Prabhupada had not been or appeared. And so what to speak of? Prabhupada had not gone to the West. Then there was no question of him founding the foundation of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Forget ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada was, of course, our Brajabhumi Prabhu is sitting here. As I look at him, I'm reminded of Prabhupada in Jhansi. And Prabhupada had registered League of Devotees, and he was that was his International Society for Krishna Consciousness in 50s. Or that became International Society for Krishna Consciousness, in fact. So the devotees from Jhansi, they say the ISKCON was conceived in Jhansi. The conception of ISKCON took place in Jhansi. Then Prabhupada comes to Vrindavan, and then some pregnancy or something. And then ISKCON was delivered in New York. Hari Hari. It's fine if you want to clap. Yeah, Prabhupada used to say, sometimes he would say, ISKCON is like my body, ISKCON is like his body. So, Prabhupada has appeared in the form of ISKCON, and that happened in New York. So Prabhupada left Vrindavan so that we could arrive in Vrindavan. I was making this connection. It's a very simple connection, right? Anybody could make this connection. The reason we all are here in Vrindavan, what is the connection of it? Prabhupada left Vrindavan. Paradukha dukhi and all that. Paradukha dukhi. Not just that. Also, you. But not you. So that happened in 1922, right? Very intelligent young man. Go to the West and preach Krishna consciousness. So instruction comes from Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki. I always think this is, behind this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur giving this instruction to Srila Prabhupada. Behind this instruction is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, go ahead. Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta, go ahead. Point out to him and instruct him. He is the one. Chosen one. He is my Senapati Bhakta. Okay, go ahead, give him instruction. So that instruction took place. And it took maybe half a minute or 1 minute to say the instruction. But then what Srila Prabhupada did with it, and lifetime in preparation. 1922, 1965, some 40, more than 40 years preparing. Never forgot the instruction of his spiritual master. Never forgot. Or Srila Prabhupada would a lot of times say, I feel that my spiritual master is always next to me, and telling me what to do, what not to do. So Srila Prabhupada was Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta conscious. And he would take instructions from his spiritual master. Anyway, that very first instruction. And that resulted in foundation of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And it's a big thing. World has not remained the same. Before the foundation and after the ISKCON foundation, the world is different. A revolution has taken place. After all, why have you come, Swamiji? Why have you come? I know a lot of people would ask that question. One time he said, I want to see the change in what? The way people think. The way people think. I want to see that people think differently. I want to see the change in the way people think, the world people of the whole world, the way they think. And so he worked on that thought process, thinking, which is also called revolution in consciousness. So from Maya to Krishna conscious. So many revolutions this world has seen. Russian Revolution, French Revolution, this revolution, that revolution. And there's no solution. And then revolutions come and they disappear. Yet another one comes. But this revolution that Srila Prabhupada brought about is here to stay. And this is as per will of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? There's no difference between will of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada's will. Will, desire. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitanena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam. As Rupa Goswami, he was able to read the mind and the heart of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is on his mind? What is on his mind? What does he want to happen or take place? So Rupa Goswami had access to thinking of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So likewise, Srila Prabhupada had access to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's will, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already declared also, made a prediction. What is that prediction? Prithivita sejata nagaradi gram sarvata prachar hoibe moranam. My name will be chanted in every town, in every village of the world. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he did himself. He was traveling, preaching all over India. He came to Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Vrindavan. Did you know that? And then he went to South India, into East India also. He was traveling for 6 years and propagating. Ei Radhar Bhave Yebe Gauravatar Hare Krishna Nama Gaur Karila Prachar. Hare Krishna Nama Gaur Karila Prachar. So he personally propagated, did prachar in India. And then Srila Prabhupada used to say that the preaching overseas, outside India, well, he could have done that himself, but he left that up to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So this International Society for Krishna Consciousness movement, it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Hari Hari. What was that? Just think something. Just slipped out of my mind. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Maybe just now coming. So, okay, got it. Came back. Ajanulambita bhujau Sankirtanaikapitaro Kamalaya-taksho Vishwambharo Dvijavaro Yugadharma-palo Vande Jagat-priyakaro Karunavataro. Well, what we need here is the beginning part. Ajanulambita bhujo Sankirtanaika-pitaro. Pitaro, there are two of them in this prayer. This is the very first verse in Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is a prayer unto Gauranga, 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 Nityananda, Nityananda, Daujika Bhaiya, Daujika Bhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya, Daujika Bhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya, Probably you are wondering what is this Gauranga Nitya. We are not in Mayapur, so then we switched over to Dauji Ka Bhaiya. Krishna Balaram ki. So Krishna Balaram, they are Gaurnita. Nanda Nandana Jai, Sachi Sutta, Hoila Sai. Balaram Hoila, Balaram became Nityanand Prabhu. I think Srila Prabhupada also made some statement like that. He wanted to let the world know. See this Krishna Balaram, they appeared in end of Dwapar Yuga, and they appeared again as Gaurnita here on this altar you could see. In the beginning of Kali Yuga, Kalau Prathama Sandhyayam, the first Sandhya, beginning of Kali Yuga, Krishna Balaram appeared as Gaurnithai. So Gaurnithai are the founding fathers of this Sankirtan movement. Sankirtanaika Pitaro. You could remember this. Pita is father. Pitaro, because there are two of them, so Pitaro. Who are those two? Gauranga, Nityananda, and they are founding fathers. So it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu, they founded this 500 years ago, the Sankirtan movement. And then Srila Prabhupada, later on, 1966, he became, some formalities were taken care of, and then the Sankirtan movement was registered in New York. Same one, formalized, down to the earth, brought down to the earth, to New York. So Srila Prabhupada gave us ISKCON. Okay, then as soon as we say that, then we are reminded. I was passing through Pune, and they have to make Pune city Prabhupada conscious, or to celebrate Srila Prabhupada's Vyas Puja of this year, special Vyas Puja, Maha Vyas Puja, 125th anniversary. There are hoardings all over the town. As I was driving to the airport, I saw so many hoardings, big Prabhupada portraits, and the statement, he built the world, house. He built the house so that the whole world could stay in that house. And that house is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That is the house. And more devotees, more people move in. It expands. It expands. And there's no walls or anything. It's a different kind of house. It's a divine house. And it's going to go on accommodating more and more and more souls. And this will go on for another 9,500 years. This is a golden period. This is a dark age, iron, compared to the iron, no? Iron, but it's a golden period, Suvarnakal of the age of Kali. Started 500 years ago, so really. So I was just going to say, but that Srila Prabhupada did so much for us. Yeah? Could you also say, or it's only me who thinks like this? Could you also say, Prabhupada, you did so much for us? Could you say? Did he say? Only you say yes, but you did not say. Srila Prabhupada, you did so much for us. What could we do for you? We should be asking that question. Hari Hari. Yeah, one time, yeah, Prabhupada with some disciples, and they were also thinking, oh, Prabhupada, you did so much for us. And it is not enough to say so much. We don't really know how much, so much. Everybody's so much could be different, right? So much. Something is so much. Each one of us, that understanding of so much is different. But if we could really understand Srila Prabhupada, then there's so much would be really so much, a lot. So I was just also thinking that this series of what are you calling memorial, remembering Srila Prabhupada, lecture series happening here. And I think we are just reminded of how much Srila Prabhupada did for us. I think each speaker is going to talk something to the effect that Prabhupada did so much for the world, for me, for us, so much. It's a reminder how much he did for us. So there were some disciples, they're talking to Srila Prabhupada, you did so much for us. And we are indebted to you, Srila Prabhupada, we are indebted to you. And then same disciple or a group of disciples, is there anything we could do to, become free from this debt? We are indebted. So how could we, is it possible to become free from debt? First response is, there's nothing you could do. No. There's nothing you could do to become free from the debt. And there was a long pause, and then Prabhupada says, yes, you could do. Are you ready to hear? It's not a long thing, but it's a big thing. It's not a. And he said, you do as I did. I think that was said in that context, I understand. Prabhupada, and it's a famous statement, right? Prabhupada, you do as I did. You do as I did. So I think that is, if we are realizing, agreeing, and you already said, Srila Prabhupada, you did so much for us. And with that, the thought goes, we are indebted to you, Srila Prabhupada. And is there anything we could do? And what is Prabhupada's response? What is Prabhupada's response? You do as I did. And he could definitely say that to each one of us. You do as I did. And you know what he has done, or we should be finding out what he has done, or how he has done what he has done, how he has done what he has done. And then we should be trying our best to do that. Hari Hari. And then during his last days also, right here in Vrindavan, well, then I'm reminded of a few things. Well, one time, Giriraj Prabhu, he was Prabhu that time. Giriraj Prabhu was with Srila Prabhupada. Just two of them, and Prabhupada asked Giriraj, how will this moment go on after I'm gone or something? And Giriraj Prabhu's reply was, we'll chant Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada. And like that, we'll follow the principles. And, something like that, more of that nature he was saying. But Prabhupada wasn't kind of excited to hear that response. That was okay, what he said. But then Prabhupada said a couple of words during many GBC meetings, or from time to time, this dialogue between Srila Prabhupada and Giriraj Prabhu comes up for serious consideration. And then, so Prabhupada there said, organization. How will this moment go on? Organization. And intelligence. Or intelligent organization. We could put the two words together. We should be organized. Well, that was one thing, and then the other thing, the famous other statement is that your love for me will be seen how you cooperate with each other. After I'm gone, to keep this institution together. That part is also there. Sometimes that part is forgotten, not said, but that part is also there. How you cooperate with each other to keep this institution together or protect this institution. So you do as I did, so this is continuation, continue. Cooperate with each other and be organized and, really. Hari. So, how long this goes on? Oh, okay. I had, maybe I'm changing topic. Prabhupada is a topic, but there's some different angle. Yes, I had seen Srila Prabhupada in Bombay. Now they call Mumbai, but that time it was Bombay. At Hare Krishna festival, Cross Maidan 71. And that is where I came in contact with Srila Prabhupada. And then another festival was held at Hare Krishna land, Juhu. At both of these festivals I had seen and heard Srila Prabhupada, heard him speak. On Hare Krishna land, I had also seen Prabhupada, kind of walking around the property, newly purchased property, and I was watching him from a distance. And anyway. But only, after that Hare Krishna festival at Juhu, Hare Krishna land, 72, March, April. That also reminds me of something. Let me say that. That 72, I already said that. The first Mayapur festival was in 72, Gaur Purnima time. And Prabhupada did groundbreaking ceremony, Bhumi Puja, in Mayapur. Then Prabhupada traveled to Vrindavan, and the Saraf family, and that Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Shritakirti Prabhu K. You also remind me of Prabhupada. I was just saying, wherever I look, or wherever I see Prabhupada disciples, they certainly remind me of Srila Prabhupada. Because they're very close. They are Prabhupada conscious. Prabhupada is in their heart. And they are in Prabhupada's heart. So the Saraf family had donated this land. You don't know which land is that. Only land where Prabhupada Samadhi in the front, Krishna Balram temple, and the guest house in the back. So that one was donated by Saraf. So after Mayapur, he comes here and he did another second groundbreaking ceremony, or Bhumi Puja, for Krishna Balram temple in Vrindavan K. Then Prabhupada traveled to Bombay, and by that time the Hare Krishna land was purchased. And during that Hare Krishna festival at Hare Krishna land, Prabhupada did another or third Bhumi Puja. 3 Bhumi Pujas in 1 month. Mayapur, Vrindavan, Hare Krishna land. So I witnessed that Bhumi Puja at Hare Krishna land, Juhu, Bombay. So after that festival, Prabhupada went on a long world tour. Australia, Europe, America, and then he was making plans to come to Vrindavan for Kartik festival. He had contacted Tejas Prabhu, there's correspondence with him, to organize this Kartik festival. It was going to be first Kartik festival of ISKCON in Vrindavan. So anyway, there's a lot of details I have recorded. I'm sure that such records exist in some other writings. So we're some 15 devotees. We traveled from Hare Krishna land to Vrindavan. We arrived at Mathura train station, and it was my first Tanga. From Mathura station, we hired 3 Tangas and 15 of us with our bags in. We traveled to, our destination was Radha Damodar temple. In fact, our destination was Prabhupada. Who knew about Radha Damodar? And we were coming because of Srila Prabhupada, I would say. And he had invited us. So as we arrive at the Radha Damodar temple, we were invited in. We had in the courtyard, and we had darshan of Radha Damodar ki jai. Those were the first deities of Vrindavan. First temple, first deities. And there are so many deities besides Radha Damodar. There was a kind of battalion. It's quite a lineup. Several acharyas, deities there. So we took darshan. And immediately we entered Prabhupada's quarters. We were directed, Prabhupada is here, Prabhupada is here. So we all entered of obeisances, took our seats. And as you know, the size of the room, when 15 of us kind of sat in the room, it was house full. And Prabhupada was sitting on a very humble cushion, asan, no vyasasana. This is too much. Anyway, so many thoughts, but one thought was, I was really, because he was a founder, acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness with temples around the world and disciples, even like George Harrison, or this follower, or Henry Ford, and here comes Srila Prabhupada to Vrindavan and moves back into the same little tiny room. Like Goswamis would do. So we were sitting, I don't know how much I could say. So that was my first. Then I was with Prabhupada face to face. I had never ever, twice before I had opportunity, or I was there at 2 festivals, but never came that close. So I was just few or 1 meter away from Prabhupada, sitting right in front with other devotees. And Prabhupada was talking to us. We thought he would be talking about Radha Krishna in Vrindavan or some pastime. Immediately, how is the construction in Juhu? How is this in Juhu? How is that? And of course, construction had not started in 72, but we had just acquired the land. So Prabhupada was making inquiries about the Hare Krishna land, Juhu, and our welfare, how we were residing, etc. He expressed his concern, and then while Prabhupada was talking, I don't know, I've said already so much, so I might as well say this one also. Probably I've heard this before, me saying this. Yeah, Prabhupada was looking at us, and okay, back, like a camera, he was. But when it was a turn, Prabhupada's turn to look at me, he was kind of pausing there. I was taking note. He would come. So I was wondering what was going on. Why am I getting Prabhupada's attention? Is my buttons okay? Or I don't have tilak or what? I was trying to break my brains and try to figure it out. I couldn't. until Prabhupada said, "Stop it!" And what was to be stopped? I was doing this. Right, sitting right in front. And I was not aware what I was doing. I had this habit of doing this. Whenever I would hear someone with attention, then I would, so stop it. And that became the first instruction. Stop it. And then I took that. Sorry. Then I connected, don't do this, don't do that. Started with that, don't do this. So, and then in a few days, Prabhupada came with, I had come to be with Prabhupada in Vrindavan during Kartik. But then another instruction comes. Go to Agra. And it was myself and Dravida Das, who became Pancha Dravida. He took sannyas during that Kartik festival along with myself. I became first initiated. So two of us were sent to Agra for what? Prabhupada was planning a big Annakut festival, Govardhan Puja festival. So he wanted lots of grains and ghee and gur so we were doing this service together in Mumbai, Food for Life. So Prabhupada picked us up and we were sent away. Poor us, poor me. No, I was chosen to go. So then we, of course, returned with big load of little tempo full of all these grains and grocery and gur and atta and suji and Prabhupada was very, very happy. Yasha prashadat bhagavad prasado yasha aprasadan nagati kutopi. So we thought Prabhupada was pleased, so we had pleased Sri Krishna. And in fact, I was born in Vrindavan. You did not know? माता पिता क्या जन्म सब पहले हर जन्म में माता पिता तो मिलते हैं गुरु in one jan. I think it's from Chaitanya Charitamrita, I don't remember in every birth you get mata pita, of course that's how you come into being, right? But in one of those births you get spiritual master. And then he gives you birth or second birth. Janmana jayate shudra samskarat bhaved dvijaha. The samskar. So I was initiated in this point. That's the point. So this was a big lecture series, Time, Nectar of Devotion. I mean, we had such a good time in Vrindavan, being with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada at Radha Damodari stayed, and we stayed at the palace, Bharatpur Palace. You know, probably you have seen Kesi Ghat, the Bharatpur Palace. We were staying in a palace. And would jump into the Jamuna and swim with the turtles, tortoise, big turtles, they're right there swimming. And we used to manage swimming next to them. So next to Radha Damodar, back the side yard, of Radha Damodar temple. Prabhupada was giving lectures every day. The way it looked in 72 was different from what it is. Uska chehra badal diya. There's a whole face, everything has changed. Even there were some bushes and trees and nests. The birds were, you see some birds chirping in the back. In the Nectar of Devotion records, the birds chirping. And so Prabhupada would sit. It was a little raised on ground. Prabhupada would sit and we sit in between. I think I should go faster than this. Between Rupa Goswami Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir. And we were just 30, 40 of us. But we used to say, hey, if someone would ask us, how many devotees are there? Oh, so many. So many devotees. And finally we would say, 40 devotees. So 40 devotees those days was so many devotees, so many devotees. So I was fortunate to take birth along with some others. Pancha Dravida became sannyasi, and I used to be Raghunath. My name was Raghunath. And Prabhupada gave me the name Loknath. I was thinking maybe I will become Radha Raman or because Raghunath but Prabhupada kept the Nath part, he kept intact, and in the place of Raghu, he made Loka. Anyway, I was happy, no complaints. And one day Prabhupada said, I don't know, maybe Shrutakirti asked me or Jamuna asked me, Prabhupada wanted to eat jalebis. And he had one particular jalebi wala in Loi Bazaar. I was even told, go to that shop and bring hot jalebis for Prabhupada. So Jamuna and others were cooks, but cooking jalebi, it's not like a cooking khichdi. That anybody could do, cooking jalebis. That art, science, no one, they had not perfected. So I ran to jalebi shop, and while they were getting cooked, and I wanted to make sure the hot jalebis are delivered, so I really ran back to Radha Damodar temple. Jalebis are here, jalebis are here. I think Prabhupada had some special liking for jalebis. We have heard some other jalebi stories in Mumbai, in Bombay, Delhi, Chandni Chowk, and also Rishikesh. Few places Prabhupada ordered jalebis. Hari Hari. And then Prabhupada used to send us to here. We had this land. And with the Kirtan party, starting Kirtan at Radha Damodar and going through this path, coming out at Radha Madan Mohan temple, and then going on the rivers on the Parikrama path, coming to Kaliya Ghat and Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Goshala, which did not exist that time, of course not. And then making zigzag and on our land here. Kind of every day, that was our service. That was Prabhupada's will, instruction. So we would come, happily come, chanting, dancing. Achyutananda, and there are so many others. Guru Kripa, and the Guru Kripa and company, they were initiated on the Purnima, Sharad Purnima day, which is the first day of Kartik. In fact, one night before Kartik begins is that Purnima, Sharad Purnima. That day, Prabhupada had initiated several sannyasis, Paramahamsa, Parivrajaka, Charya, Guru Kripa, and Prabhupada also had taken those disciples on a morning walk to Seva Kunj, where Krishna has his rasa dance every night. And even monkeys do not dare to spend the night there. Prabhupada took them on a little tour, walking, and during the day that initiation had taken place. So those devotees, some sannyasis also, we came with the kirtan party here, and nothing much was happening. This is 72, we are just acquired. What we're talking, okay. The Bhumi Puja had taken place in March or the same year, and then Kartik of that year. I think some planning, designing was taking place. But there was that tree, Tamal tree. Tamal tree was there, not this one. You don't even know these things. Is this second tree or third one? The second. The first tree was there. And I remember when we stood up next to the tree, that tree was as tall as I was. I was standing next to that tree. And that tree grew up and had a whole lifespan and entered pastimes of Radha Krishna. Then another one is now is there, gloriously present there. So, and then we'll do some rolling in the dust on our property, and then back to Radha Damodar temple in association of Srila Prabhupada, where he gave us everyday Bhagavatam classes. I think at least one time Prabhupada accompanied us on the kirtan. He didn't come every day, but one day I have some memory that Prabhupada walked or came along with us to this land here. And so like that, I mean, I was born and kind of brought up, cultivated or nourished in Vrindavan. I would like to think like that. Is it okay? Or what? Who are you? We have that right. You are some newcomer or just making these claims. I feel that I was born here and brought up here. And later on, well, my sannyas also, Prabhupada gave me sannyas in Krishna Balaram courtyard in 75. And like that, there are festivals, Vrindavan festival 74, 75, 76. I used to come with hundreds of other devotees. And then so much more association with Srila Prabhupada. And he used to send us on different parikramas and here, there. One time, we went to Radhakund and we had some water sports in Radhakund. This is the culture that we were brought up in the West. So those devotees took leadership and they were diving and jumping and doing all sorts of things. When Prabhupada came to know after we had returned, said, no more bathing in Radhakund. I would like to take that as, that was, to us, he said, those who did not follow the etiquette or did not have proper bhav or... Yeah, so anyway. So like that, Prabhupada used to... why did you go there? Prabhupada used to correct us, protect us. And then 77, of course, 76 also, Prabhupada had given me this instruction of doing bullock cart Sankirtan party. I received that instruction on Radhastami in Radha Parsarthi temple in Delhi. And then Prabhupada had come to Vrindavan, and we also followed, and we were preparing, and when everything was all set to go, we went into Prabhupada's quarter, and we had an hour-long discussion. Prabhupada was giving us guidance. When you go to the village, you should park your cart next to the well. Make sure each one of you have 2 blankets, because of winter season. Make sure your cart has a tire wheels. Like that, on and on. So that's Prabhupada's quarters. Prabhupada did inauguration. We broke the coconut. And then we offered that to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was chewing and talking to us also. My memory was talking, chewing. And then in 77, this is, now Prabhupada is not well. He was not well, and then that's why he had gone to Rishikesh, and he became worse. Comes back to Vrindavan. As soon as he was feeling a little better, he wanted to travel. He wanted to go to Gita Nagari. Varnashram. I want to establish Varnashram. I was just reading TKG diary and Prabhupada's statement, I want to establish Varnashram. So there's a farm there, Gita Nagari farm. So Prabhupada. So on the way he stops at London. He was there for Janmashtami that year, 77. And then he was really, health was out of control, not getting better. Comes to Bombay. And we were there to receive Srila Prabhupada, and we spent quite some time there. Mostly lying on the bed. There were no more walks on the Juhu beach, and no more morning programs. This was something different from previous years. So from there, Rishikesh back to Vrindavan. I already said that. So in 77, Prabhupada, I think I think 1st October. Around 1st October, Prabhupada arrived from Mumbai by train. He couldn't fly. And then we had a Narad Muni traveling Sankirtan party. My party's name, there's a Bullock cart and there's another party, Bullock cart party and Narad Muni traveling party. So we followed Prabhupada, and as I arrived here, he had arrived. Prabhupada sent me to Allahabad to bring his doctor. Doctor who? Ghosh, Dr. Ghosh. I think it's Ghosh. So, Tamal, give him money for travels. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj gave me. And that was my first air travel in service of Prabhupada. I will not say this, so much to say. The doctor was not in Prayag, he was in Darjeeling. So I had to take another flight to Bagdogra. ऐसा कुछ शहर है ना? So as I was from Dr. Ghosh's home, where he was not there, I was going to the airport. I saw Hanuman, big Hanuman deity. Then I started praying and saying that, now one time, O Hanuman, you were on a mission when Lakshman was not well in Lanka. Didn't you go to, you did go to Himalaya to bring some jari booty, some herbs, some medicine. So likewise, I am also, this Darjeeling is on the top of Himalayan mountain. So I had to go there, where Hanuman had gone once on that side. So please make me successful in service of my Guru Maharaj. And Hanuman, I'm sure he must have heard my prayers. And I was successful bringing Dr. Ghosh here. Hari Hari. And then we had gone traveling again, gone to Badrika Ashram, traveling. But we did not, there was no way to find how Prabhupada was doing. No mobile, and forget SMS messages. So only way to know how Prabhupada is doing, his health, we had to travel. We traveled back to Vrindavan. And Prabhupada was kind to give our party darshan. Prabhupada lying in the bed. And Prabhupada was inquiring, which book is selling the most? Which book is selling the most? And this is something to know. Prabhupada was always inspired with his book distribution reports. When mail would come, then you have Sankirtan report. Which mail has Sankirtan report? Open that. And he used to. So inquiries were being made, and so we talked of these different things, including, time doesn't permit, so I won't say. But one thing let me say, that because we're in Badrika Ashram, I said to Srila Prabhupada, we showed your Bhagavad-Gita to Srila Vyasadeva. Because in Badrika Ashram, there is a gufa, Vyas Gufa. There's a cave of Vyas Gufa. There's also Ganesh Gufa also there. His secretary next to his boss, Vyasadeva. So we had gone with Prabhupada's books. Bhagavad-Gita also was there. So we were confident for sure Vyasadeva must have seen Prabhupada's Bhagavad-Gita. So we reported. I said, we showed your Gita to Vyasadeva. Prabhupada was smiling to hear this. And then we were walking out. I looked behind and Prabhupada called me back. And he said, I would like to see you. Okay, fine. Not only that, what time suits you? Prabhupada is asking me, what time suits you? me so that he could. I said, no, whatever time, Prabhupada, whatever time, 4 o'clock, okay. So then the way Prabhupada had said this, I want to see you, I thought there was it's not a casual manner, and this is something serious. But I couldn't figure it out. Only I came to know at 4 o'clock, when I came to Prabhupada's door, I was directed, please come to Krishna Balaram Guest House Lounge. As I arrived there, just few steps, there was a whole group of Prabhupada's servants and secretaries and senior men were sitting, and what Prabhupada wanted to say to me at 4 o'clock, Prabhupada had already said that to these men. So they told me, Prabhupada wants to travel with a bullock cart. And he wants you to arrange bullock cart. So we went on the mission. Myself, Pancha Dravida, and I had my name I was remembering, but I forgot that name. Really. So 3 of us went and we arranged a bullock cart. And the bullock cart had come and parked in front of the temple on the road. Those days there was no traffic. Few vehicles would pass by. A lot of carts would, and we would hear different, the bells around the necks of the bulls when they walked or ran. Just to hear not this honking of the horns and pee-pee, pom-pom. Those days were different. So anyway, that's where the cart was parked, and so different talks were going on. Whether Prabhupada should travel, not travel, and whole debate, and house was kind of divided, some in favor, some not in favor, because considering Prabhupada's health. So anyway, that idea was dropped, traveling with the bullock cart. But traveling idea Prabhupada did not drop. So next day, and we are talking of like a 3, 4, 5 days before Prabhupada's departure day, which is 14th of November, right? So this is happening all around 10th of November. So I think must be next day, Prabhupada's quarter is filled with all these senior men. GBCs are there, sannyasis are there. And again, Prabhupada comes with a proposal. I want to travel with the buses. And now no one had objection. And, and this was very welcomed also those days. Prabhupada wants to travel. What does that mean? This Prabhupada is not going to leave us behind, and he's not leaving his body, not leaving us behind. He's staying on with us. So this was welcomed when Prabhupada proposed. He wants to travel. He wants to be in the midst of us, or we are with him. So there was a discussion going on about traveling. Anyway, what to say? I came into the picture again because not only I had an experience of traveling with a bullock cart, but I also had traveling with the buses, because I had traveled earlier with German buses. Hansaduta had come with the German buses, and that journey had started also from Vrindavan. And So Prabhupada wanted, so there was a whole dialogue going on, advance party, and then main party comes, and I will do some advance party work. But before that, different devotees, Prabhupada, wherever we go, there are some scientists, scientific-minded people. This is Swarup Damodar Maharaj proposal. Could I come, Prabhupada? I could organize some scientific preaching. Yes. Maybe not even yes. Means yes. Then Giriraj Prabhu says, no, wherever we go, I could make life members, Prabhupada. Could I go? I like that different devotees are taking turn. Could I go? Could I go? There was one Bhakti Chaitanya Swami from Punjabi, from Chandigarh, Indian bodied. He was sannyasi. He was a good driver. Could I go? You will be the driver. Prabhupada did not say, but Tamal Krishna Maharaj, you will be the driver. And then it was my turn. Could I go? And well, my going was, I knew was guaranteed, but some kind of humorous way, I asked whether I could go. And then Prabhupada's response was, what can I say? He said, you will be our leader. So, and then so we immediately started preparations. It was Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Bhavanand, and Bhakti Chara Maharaj. Like that, we had a team, and we were preparing where to get the buses, we had a big map of India, a huge map we had purchased, and we were deciding the itinerary and the buses and the drivers, and we were working out the logistics, as they say. And as we were middle of all this, that day arrived, 14th of November, like a black day. And then that Kaviraj, the doctor who was nursing, and so he started going all over our Hare Krishna, not Hare Krishna land, but temple, wherever the devotees, this Gurukul, here, there, giving the news that Prabhupada is ready to leave, getting ready to leave. So that was a message that he was spreading around, and we also heard, and we dropped everything, all these plans that we were making, and we rushed Prabhupada's quarters. And again, as I entered Prabhupada's quarter today, earlier, I was standing there. That bed, the Prabhupada's head to the left side, Prabhupada's left side as he was lying. I was there, and we were all chanting and crying, and we're all singing in a chorus. No one was leading, no one was following. We're all singing together. And we noticed, I noticed, after a long time, Prabhupada opening mouth. and saying something we couldn't, it was not audible, but for sure he said Hare Krishna or something like that. And yeah, it's not nice to remember this part, but what to do? I saw the photograph also on Prabhupada's bed. I was looking at it. Pradumna and Jayadvaita Maharaj and Prabhupada he's lying on the bed was like grandfather Bhishma's lying on the bed of arrows. And like the Bhishma, they managed to talk, right? Very famous talk. He addressed Yudhishthira Maharaj. Krishna spoke Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna at the beginning of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But it was grandfather Bhishma who had to talk to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Even Krishna could not pacify him and make him free from lamentation. Grandfather Bhishma managed in clear thought, and so like that Prabhupada was doing the dictation of his purpose. Yes, during those last days, before that last breath, he was writing commentaries, writing purpose. Okay, so this was, I took this as a Prabhupada's will. Prabhupada wanted to travel with a bullock cart, and he wanted to travel with the buses, or basically wanted to travel. He wanted to go on places of pilgrimage. So it did not happen soon after Prabhupada's departure. It took many years. I was wondering, are we going to execute the will of Srila Prabhupada? Are we going to take him on a pilgrimage? So finally, again, on Radhastami of 1984, we started a long pilgrimage for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. We had Prabhupada sitting in the front in the chariot or rath, and Gaur-Nithai in the back, and we were going to celebrate 500th anniversary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, 5th centennial, 1986. This is the 500th anniversary, birth anniversary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So ISKCON had decided, GBCs had discussed and decided how could we celebrate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's 500th birth anniversary in a grand manner. So this was approved then. With the devotees from all over the world, they had arrived in Dwarka, and on Radhastami, 84, we started 2nd September. We started from Dwarka, and our destination was Mayapur, via Kanyakumari. So we walked. Radharaman Maharaj used to be with us those days, and so many others. I don't know anyone here present also. Maybe not. कोई थे? Radha Ballabh बैठे हैं. Yeah, he maybe was around. Kirtaniya. So after 18 months and walk up 8,000 kilometers, devotees arrived. There's a grand reception at Mayapur just before that Gaur Purnima of that year. So we kind of were trying to fulfill Prabhupada's desire or execute the will. But then, we couldn't stop or terminate our yatra in Mayapur. We decided to proceed. And from Mayapur, we came to Vrindavan. Dwarka, Kanyakumari, Jagannath Puri, Mayapur, and of course many other towns and places, Vrindavan. And we went to Badrikashram. And then we went back to Dwarka. One circle complete. But still we're thinking, why stop? Why one circle? Why only one parikrama of Bharat Varsha? We could do another one. So we did another one, and another one, and another one. So far, our All India Srila Prabhupada Padayatra has done 5 circles of entire Indian continent. And of course, during 100th birth anniversary of Srila Prabhupada, for Prabhupada's pleasure and for his glories, spreading his glories, we did Padayatra then more than 100 countries. So like that, Prabhupada wanted to travel to the places of pilgrimage, so we are on the job. You do as I did. And Prabhupada had also done Padayatra himself. Prabhupada did Padayatra from Jhansi to kya gaon ka naam? Chirgaon. Prabhupada had done Padayatra from Jhansi to Chirgaon. Prabhupada traveled when he had only disciple, Dr. Kya naam? Prabhakar Mishra. Dr. Prabhakar Mishra. Prabhupada walked and went to Chirgaon. And when our Padayatra was, All India Padayatra was Chirgaon, one dog joined our Padayatra. When Padayatra came to Vrindavan, dog was with us. We did Brajamandal Parikrama with Padayatra, dog was with us. We were heading towards north. On the bank of, these glories of this particular dog, we were calling him Bhakta Das. It was quite a Padayatri. As soon as Kamshal would be blown in the morning, the first one to arrive was a dog. Devotees would be late, but the dog would be first one to come there. And one time the dog was hurt and limping. So we used to try to put him in we had the trolleys carrying our baggage. So try to put the dog on the top of the trolley, but he would jump down and begin walking. While our Padayatris, they would find, Maharaj, could I have a ride on the trolley? I'm not well. So the dog would be walking. So he left his body on the bank of Ganga. So devotees wrapped his body in a Harinam chadar and put him in the Ganga. Did the final rites of the dog. So this kya gaon? Chirgaon. So anyway, we thought maybe someone, Prabhupada had appealed probably, join a Padayatra, join. So that person, when finally he was a dog's body, he decided to join our Padayatra in the same place that Prabhupada had arrived with the Padayatra. Okay. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharyashto Tarashata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace, C.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki.